the distances on the fences, the average stride distance for a canter pole, we normally work on about 3 meters. And then it depends on how the horse jumps over the pole. Some horses, like later on I've got an 18-1 horse, and he has obviously a big stride, so he steps a big step over the pole, so I give him plenty of room. Or you might get a horse that backs off the fence quite a lot, so he only just steps over the pole. So then we'll actually give him a tighter distance so he gets closer to the fence. These poles I've put down here, that I've forgotten about, sorry. Actually, with the horse, if you have a job to get a horse to bend round your leg, it's quite a simple exercise. You know, to just keep turning back and in and out. It's also a really good exercise for the pelvis. But also, you know, if you start turning without poles, you know, they tend to cut round. Whereas if they go in and out of them, it gives you a nice turn. Okay? Now I have to rely on Claire's distances. And as you can see, her leg's a lot shorter than mine. She'd disagree with that, I think. I have got probably the shortest. Okay, what we're looking for now is not to chuck me off. See, that's quite nice. A little bit quick on the way out, but loads of concentration, which is what I want. Just a bit narrower with the V's, please. So what I'll do now is, I'll pull the V's in a little bit closer, and that gives her a little bit tighter distance in there, so it gets her to shorten her stride, and then it's easier to come out. See, I don't want to get in too quick. See, for me, that's quite quick coming out. So what I've done is pulled her up and stopped her, because she's quite enjoying it, but she's a little bit quick coming out. Have a bit more room in that. What I'm going to do now is just lengthen that a little bit, because it's quite tight for her. So to give her a bit more room, which makes it easier for her to look at the poles. The poles in the corner is something that we tend to have thrown in the indoor school a lot. I've got quite a narrow indoor school, and what they tend to do is cut the corners quite a bit. So if there's a pole in the corner, especially for the young ones, it makes them go round and actually go round nice and round instead of, you know, cutting the corners. Right, now where she was quite good there is going in. I had a rubbish stride, to be honest. But because I've got the canter pole down, she stretched over that pole, which is exactly, I have an oxer, Claire, which is exactly what I'd want her to do in the ring. If I come around the corner and I'm not quite on the button with the stride, I'd hope for her to extend a little bit, but because of her work and her concentration, to actually help me out a little bit. Yeah, the key with horses is that you have to leave a little bit in them that they can help you out. It's no good domineering them so they do everything like a little push button, because if you do that, it's fine on the flat, because a lot of people can push the buttons on the flat, but when you get 12 fences and you're suddenly coming around a corner, there's a fence here and a fence there and a fence there. If you've got a push button horse, you've got to press the buttons and think about the stride and think. So if you leave a little bit of natural ability in the horse, he will help you out, especially with a little bit of training. I'm going to try and be a little bit slower in this time, because she just rushed out a little bit. See, that's quite nice. Now, she objected a little bit on the way in because I held her up, but it's no good me leaving everything to her. It's no good me leaving everything to her so that she just learns to run. In the ring, I need to hold her. I need to run down to her fence and hold her so she doesn't get on her head. As I said, she's a little bit on her head, this horse, so she's got to learn to look for my help and appreciate it. A bit like you women, when the husbands put the washing on, you don't appreciate it because they'd shrunk everything. Was that any good, that jump? Are you sure? Bigger, wider. Quite good. I'm getting confident because you lot are clapping, you see. That's what it's all about. The more you clap, the more I'll put it up until I fall off. Now again, for me, she's just pulling me a little bit on the way in. So we're going to blame Claire for that because she's been working her. I'm going to try going a little bit slower here now because she's jawed me a few times. So I want control. See, the other thing is, always reward. You know, when things go well, whether it be on the flat or jumping or whatever, well, not halfway around the ring, obviously, but always reward them so they know they've done well. Very often at home, we loose jump a lot. And the good horses, they'll run down to a fence, they'll jump the fence, jump it really good, and then they'll trot back to you as if say, done, haven't I? I can go back now. What did you do? Okay, go a bit bigger if you want. They clapped, so I've got to go a bit bigger. Again, I'm not going to let her rush in, because the more she rushes in, the harder it makes for her to jump the fence. Right, now for me, it's quite good. She's actually doing what we set off to do, is she's looking on the way in. Take the V's off, Claire. So what I'm going to do now is take the V's off, because she didn't just finish off and go that way for me. So now that she started looking on the way in, we're just going to take them off so that she can get to the back rail and maybe just pull it a little bit wider. Cramped. Again, I'm not going to rush in. If you want to take everything away, I'll just jump the one fence on its own. So this mare obviously has a lot of jump, you know, and you don't need to go home and make your 12-2 jump that big. I've only done it to try and entertain you a little bit with this mare, but it's the same objective to small fences. You know, they must jump little poles, pole on the floor, V, you know, and do something all the time, not just run at the fence. What I'm going to do now with this one is just ride it to the fence normally, and this is where I'll probably tell whether the actual work has done anything for me, whether I can run her in a little bit and hold her up to jump the fence. As I say, she's a little bit downward in front, and this is the bit that Claire rides her in. It's probably not the best for me. That's the other thing with people. Like me and Claire ride the same horses sometimes, but never in the same bit because we're two totally different riders. You know, you find that riders have a bit that works with them, their body, how they ride and everything, and they tend to stick to it on a lot of horses. I mean, if you watch a lot of top riders, you'll very often see them in a same or similar bit on a lot of horses. See, it suddenly looks a bit worrying, doesn't it, in the middle of the ring like that? Now, see, for me, that was lovely because I didn't have to really do a lot of work. I let her canter nice pace off the corner. I didn't stop her as much as I've been doing through the grids, but she was up on the bridle, so then I can squeeze a little bit, maybe cushion her as I take off, and lovely jump.